So this is the 2024 Connect Haiku update. As Heather indicated earlier, it's been a very big year for Haiku. I'll turn my camera on, y'all can see me while I talk. Um, okay, there we go. Sorry, y'all. It's 8 a.m. the Monday after Thanksgiving week. I'm coming back online as fast as I can. It's been a very big year for Haiku. Lots and lots going on. Haiku 6 is the current release. This is an upgrade to Hyrax 5.0. Valkyrie migration pipeline getting started here. The PDF.js viewer and other improvements from Haiku for Consortia, OER and ETD data types out of the box, and Google Analytics 4 support, though I hear there might be a bug or two there. Big fixes in IIIF print, upgrades and updates to bulk racks, error messaging updates, fixes to the contact form, and collection management. 6.1 is going to launch with flexible metadata, which I'll talk more about in a second. S3 support for all assets, and hopefully a Rails 7.2 upgrade, though the order of all these things is sort of subject to change, depending on what gets done in Hyrax and some other things that are happening in the meantime. All right, in the pipeline. Rails 7.2 upgrades. So getting all of the underlying components, including Hyrax to Rails 7.2, and then getting Haiku to Rails 7.2, which would give us an extended maintenance window for at least a little while. That would be wonderful. I'd love to go to 8 at this point, but that feels really ambitious at the moment. There's a bunch of new work on email notifications that's in main at the moment that will do things like improve the emails for mediated deposit and for other activities, including summaries for depositors of reports on their work analytics. So I create 15 works and I get 25 impressions on those works in a given month, then I can get an email telling me about that. We're also working a lot on revamp caching, so getting serverless IIIF to support Valkyrie is something that is on the agenda to do soon. Faster serving of static assets, better page caching for search results, and better page caching for show pages. This is something we made huge inroads on very recently. We just pushed a change to Hyrax earlier in November that allows uh, essentially you can put the entire site behind Cloudflare caching, which gives you really fast non-logged in page views. This is great for handling DDoS attacks, but also just generally serving the pages very, very quickly. It means really only your non-common searches hit your application stack at all. So it can be really performant beneficial. The big issue here is file uploads are limited to 100 megabytes when you have Cloudflare caching on. And so in order to allow for that, we updated the file uploader for both Hyrax's main, like I'm uploading file sets for a work, and for bulk racks to support chunked-based file uploading. So you can continue to set smaller like file size updates. This is also true on certain application stacks, like Cursor, I know by default like limits file size uploads. So this kind of gets you around that file size upload limiting by sending chunks of files, which is much more performant. So even if you're not doing any caching of any kind, having this chunked file uploading is a real big benefit. So that's been in progress. The ability to import embargoes and leases via bulk racks and Sword 2 support, building on the previously released Kutch Labs gem to allow support Sword 2 support in Haiku. Let's talk a little bit about the Valkyrie transition. As I predicted last year at Connect, the Valkyrie transition has been my life this year, and a lot of my team's life, frankly. With Hyrax Valkyrie being merged and migrations are underway, Adventus just completed a transition to Postgres-backed Valkyrie. In September, we identified that at the current rate of ingest, we would not be able to complete the, I think it's 300,000 work ingest by the end of the year. And that was a huge concern. So we kept some ingest going, slow and steady, um, and did the Valkyrie transition for Adventist. We then finished the last 100,000 works in 6 days. So when I talk about it being faster, I mean it is orders of magnitude faster to ingest works into Postgres instead of into Fedora 4. So this was a huge speed up. We make the end of year deadline, no problem now. And so that's been a big win. We're working right now on Commons Archive, or sorry, Haiku Commons, Valkyrie migration. That's the biggest, toughest one that we have on our agenda. It has the most diverse set of works and the largest set of works. So we're making really big inroads on getting some of these sites moved over to Valkyrie. So I'm really excited about that. And continuing to put little fixes here and there in. For example, if you had a collection with a custom banner, there was a little while where those banners would get lost when you updated the collection to Valkyrie. So we've been fixing those things, doing as many of them in Hyrax as possible, and then just making sure that it's smooth for any Hyrax or Hyku users that want to move to either Postgres or ultimately to Fedora 6. We've also, in fact, this moved from next to current. The S3 storage is for primary artifacts in Valkyrie is working great, and code changes in Hyrax are there for that. So, like I said, we're just wrapping up the Adventist migration with Hyku Commons and Hyku Up scheduled to be completed before the end of the year, which is getting scarier and scarier to say on December 2nd, but I still think it's going to happen. Because that wasn't enough, we've also implemented a modification of the Allenson Flex library to support Valkyrie. So this is getting it baked hopefully directly into Hyrax. It's already directly in Haiku. So this allows you to upload user editable metadata profiles using the M3 specification from Houndstooth. And so users can change the YAML file and upload a new version. Whenever a new version is uploaded, works are then created. Any new works are created with the new version of the schema, and anytime you edit an old work, it gets upgraded to the new version of the schema. So this means that if I want to say, let's say I have a bunch of works that have descriptions, and I want to remove description from my metadata schema, and I want to add a new field called dimensions to my metadata schema for images. So all when I do that update, none of the existing images are changed. They all still continue to display descriptions and they don't have a dimension field. But when I edit a work that exists, I see that it used to be schema version 1, now I'm on schema version 3, and it presents me the new fields to make sure that I've updated the work correctly. And when I save the work at that point, it becomes a schema version 3 work, which means no description and now has dimensions. So this allows you to make changes over time to your metadata schema to see which versions a given work is of the schema, and then have efforts to update existing works instead of having to try and bite the bullet all at once, or be very careful with your versioning to make sure that nothing ever changes in an incompatible way. Um, this is all work based on the Allenson Flex library that's been cleaned up and ported for Valkyrie. Um, it is sometimes tricky to talk about this because it is the metadata schema that is being versioned and not necessarily the data in the work itself that's being versioned. Those are two separate concepts. And so I want to specifically call that out in this slide. When I last updated these slides, which is before the break, Bulkrax was on 8.2. This is Bulkrax support for Valkyrie. Support for Hyrax 4 and 5, but still compatible with Hyrax 2 and 3. This probably will not last all that much longer. We'll probably stop supporting Hyrax 2 and 3 here pretty soon. There's quite a bit of code now that can be removed when that happens. Um, Paginated pages for importers and exporters for a cleaner UI. You may have felt like those were paginated before, but it was actually loading the entire set of importers and then giving you a paginated JavaScript viewer on top of them, and now we actually paginate them from the database layer so that if you have hundreds of importers, it's not trying to load all of them before it'll load the page. Massively speeds things up. Also, there's now searching and sorting for importers, and within a given importer, searching and sorting of the entries from that importer. And those are also paginated on the back end instead of being, all loaded and then paginated in the front end. We now added a remove and redo step. So there's the ability to essentially delete any curation concerns that have been created and recreate them fresh with an import. This is really valuable when, for example, if you're seeing active Fedora errors while you're doing an importer, you'll be in some weird states on some of these works. And so removing them and redoing them really improves that situation. We just put a link in so you can download the file that you uploaded for importers. Um, so like that's been a big win, frankly. And it just makes it easier to find the CSV that the uploader worked on. And then updated status reporting. Status reporting in Bulkrocks is super hard, and it's very difficult to get correct. And so we're continuing to just chip away at the problem sets here. The issue is that you launch a job, and that job then launches a set of jobs, which then launch other sets of jobs. And then it transfers over onto the Hyrax side, which also sets up various jobs and has various failure states, and they don't all report the same way. So slowly but surely bringing this more and more uniform so that it's clear which works succeeded and which works failed. Hyrax has really grown up a lot this year. Haiku has really grown up a lot this year. Haiku stewardship now has a community of users strong enough to contribute in new ways, planning for the future for technical leadership and product ownership. Poundly and Palsy have an MLS grant proposed that would help support this. So really trying to bring Haiku governance in line with Hyrax governance, but also expand it to be, sort of a um, work in progress of various moving parts. So current haiku projects, these are just a tiny few that I gathered up, and there are more out there. But all of these saw a major advancement this year. UTK, University of Louisville, the British Library, Georgetown. The DOT project is just about to release a brand new version this afternoon, maybe. It's very, very soon. So lots and lots of progress. And then your service providers here at the bottom. Right now, the only currently available hosting provider for Haiku is Haiku Up. So we're rolling out updates here. I need to update this screenshot because it's old. But if you are interested in Haiku services, please let me know. I'm happy to discuss that. We've been adding more clients this year in a big way, so I'm really excited about the progress on Haiku Up. And that is all of the update that I have for you at the moment. Haiku Interest Group is the last Thursday of the month, and the Haiku Developer Call is on hiatus until such time as people want to come to it again. But that's when we would do it if we were going to start doing it again. Does anyone have any questions about